Welcome back, everyone. It has been a much needed break for the last month as Ryan does his move and I do, life. But we are back with a really fun game for Series 45. It is our first Belonging Outside Belonging game. But before we get to that, announcements.
So our first announcement is actually about this episode. For some reason, we have been having some technical snafus with some of the audio going into the episode. So if the final product is not exactly up to par for our normal audio standards, I am currently in a brand new recording space, which is literally a temporary corner in the corner of my brand new basement. With blankets.
No sauna.
It's no sauna. It's definitely not the good sound dampening quality of the sauna. There's a little bit more reverb on my end, and there's some other weirdness going on. And I've got a water heater that turns on randomly that I'm not always aware of. So if there is any weird audio issues, just know that we're going to work to get those fixed. I've got actually a contractor coming this Friday, which will be last Friday as of the release of this episode, to talk about creating my new studio.
Ooh, so that's exciting.
That's very exciting. So we get to talk actual dimensions and materials and cost, so probably.
Fancy. So yeah, probably cost. But very fancy. I'm excited for you.
I know. I'm really excited. We set aside some money from the sale of the old home to do that, so I could have a nice office space that's pretty soundproof. That would double as a studio. So hopefully it'll be big enough to have a small table in there to house 4 people comfortably. And maybe we can do some local recording sometime.
That would be fun. I could come see your fancy new house.
I know.
Actually come visit you somewhere not 6 hours away.
Exactly.
Actually hang out with you in Wisconsin? I don't know.
What?
That's weird. We've never done that. We don't really have any other announcements that we can remember. Both Ryan and I thought, I feel like there was something I was going to talk about, but we can't remember what it was. So if we think of it, we'll probably tweet about it or put it in next week's episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, we are working on setting up recordings for our future series. Things are going okay there while we are navigating around Ryan being sick still, but hopefully he'll be better soon. In the meantime, if you want to help us out, you can leave some ratings or reviews on the various platforms, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podchaser, other places that do podcast recommendations or whatever. You can also check Podcast Addict and a few others that do, that allow you to actually review them right in the listening app. You will be able to hear your review read on our show in our call to action section at the end. So that's a fun little perk. And also it just makes us feel good. And that's nice. Yeah. It's nice. It is the time of year, I think, to just really to share the joy and make people feel good.
Yeah.
So, you can hear us respond in real or recorded time, in podcast time, whatever that is.
Absolutely. For now, let's go ahead and get ready to dive into this magical series. Grab some hot cocoa, sit by the fire, and cozy up to an amazing start to this series. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Character Creation Cast, a show where we discuss and create characters, the best part of role-playing games, with guests using their favorite systems. I'm one of your hosts, Amelia, and this episode, my co-host Ryan and I are excited to welcome Danny from Pod Wonder to discuss Danny's game, A Chrismas Belonging. a Belonging Outside Belonging, No Dice, No Masters RPG about playing your very own made-for-TV Christmas movie.
Welcome to Character Creation Cast, Danny. We're really excited to have you here again.
Hello, thank you. It's happy to be here and to talk to you all again.
Yeah, can you go ahead and tell us a bit more about yourself, where we can find you online, and any projects you're currently involved in?
Sure. My name is Danny Dellinger. Any pronouns are fine. I'm an RPG enthusiast and game designer based in Philadelphia. I tweet about things at Danny Plays RPGs. I make games about intimacy and cats and puns at dannymakesrpgs.itch.io. And I'm also one of the hosts of Pod of Wonder, a world-building podcast where we build a world using random Wikipedia articles and then play an original game in that world. Yeah, and you can find that at Pod of Wonder or however you found this podcast.
Yeah.
A cat is attacking my arm. Excuse me.
And I think you've got an appearance coming up, right?
Oh, yes. A time-sensitive plug. If you are going to be at PAX Unplugged the weekend of December 10th through 12th, I'm going to be running A Chrismas Belonging at the Games on Demand station, which I think is in the RPG section.
Very cool.
So if you listen to this and you like the sound of it, come play it with the person who made it.
There you go.
Very jealous of your con-going experience. I keep trying. It keeps not happening. So, man, I like looking at my convention badges that I have like pinned to my board up here. Ryan's got his. You can actually see on the camera too, on the board behind him. And I'm like, oh, conventions. Remember those? Remember friends? Oh,
I just got my COVID booster on Thursday. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready.
Good to go.
I'm masked. I'm vaxxed. I'm gonna be in a big room with a lot of people. It's gonna be great.
Yep. We were so close. I think in the interview we did on your show, we were like, we're going to CanadaCon. And like 3 days later, we're like, we're not going. Oh, bummer.
That's so sad.
But let's go ahead and talk about your game, because that's what you're here to talk about. Let's start by discussing what this game is all about.
What's in a game?
All right. So what is the core concept of A Chrismas Belonging?
So A Chrismas Belonging is designed to let you tell your very own TV Christmas movie. If you're not familiar with that very specific genre, they are, very light, feel-good stories about romance and family drama. They're usually churned out by the dozens for Hallmark Channel and Lifetime and streaming services. And they're famous for being very tropey and formulaic. And this game kind of leans into that really hard. Like, a lot of the joy of a Christmas movie is kind of being able to like go into it knowing how it's going to end. And that's kind of a part of this game. And so, a lot of the fun of it is what you're bringing to the table or like getting into those messy, melodramatic situations.
Nice.
Can you tell us a little bit about Belonging Outside Belonging, No Dice, No Masters systems? Those are not ones that we've covered before on this show. So if you can expound a little bit on what that means to this game.
Yeah. So it's a fairly new system created by Avery Alder and Benjamin Rosenbaum in 2018 for their games Dream Askew and Dream Apart. It's kind of an evolution of Powered by the Apocalypse games in that they're very narrative focused and give the players a lot of power to decide things. It also goes by the name No Dice, No Masters, which, as the name suggests, there aren't any dice that you're rolling, and there isn't a game master telling the story for you. Each player kind of has a lot of power to decide where the story goes. There are, instead of rolling dice, you have moves that are, either more or less successful for the character that you can use. And there's a kind of built-in token economy where, you do a weak move and that gives you a token to let you do a strong move later on.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know about the no game master portion of the system before. That's a really interesting take on having all of these No Dice, No Masters games being effectively GM-less, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of handled in a really elegant way. Players do get a bit of narrative control, but there are specific elements of the game that are basically kind of distilled down into setting elements that are like mini characters. Basically, they come with their own set of moves, and you are supposed to print them out and kind of put them in the middle of the table, if you're playing in person, where everybody can reach them. And basically at any time you want to call on one of those elements, you just reach over, pick up the sheet of paper with a setting element, and make one of the moves, or describe something that is kind of falls under the umbrella of that setting element.
Oh, very cool.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever actually gotten to play a GM-less game.
Really?
Like, I know about them. I know they exist. I've read some of them, but I'm thinking back to my play experience, and I don't think I've ever actually played one.
Like not even Fiasco or anything?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay, interesting.
No,
Yeah.
I've been walked through how to play Fiasco.
Yeah.
When I went and picked up our promo copy or whatever at Gen Con 2 years ago, Steve Seghetti talked me through it.
Yeah.
But I've never actually played it.
It's a very interesting experience, because then it's like everybody's riffing off of one another. It's really like a collaborative world building experience baked into story. So it's a collaborative story experience at the same time.
You just want to call things collaborative world building.
I do.
You want everything to be collaborative.
It's akin to collaborative world building.
It just has the collaborative part, Ryan. It just has the collaborative part.
I agree. But I'm saying you've done collaborative world building before, and
Yes.
you're very knowledgeable on that. So it feels like that applied to the story, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I want to experience it. Part of me is like, is that stressful? Because who's in charge? I don't.
Everybody and nobody.
Everybody,
No, I don't know if I like that. I like structures. I like very clear power structures.
Yeah.
And I am not a top, so I need someone else to be in charge.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there is always that kind of weird vibe when you start so what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
But once you kind of get into it, you kind of get comfortable saying what you want and what happens without being is this okay? And it's a really fun time. But
I imagine there's that little bit of a a bump at the beginning of okay, can we do this? Are we allowed? Can I can just say things now? It's okay.
And it happens.
Oh, interesting.
Is there dice? No, there's no dice either.
Yep.
Are we even playing a game? I'm sorry, I don't understand what we're doing. No one's in charge, and there's no dice. I don't.
What is going on? But it leads us to our next question. What do we need to actually play this game?
So at minimum, I would say you should have something to write on and write with. Right now, this game exists just in PDF form, so there isn't even a book you need. Mm-hmm. I said, it would be helpful to print out the setting elements so that everybody can easily access them. There's also a few optional rituals in the game that require some extra components. One requires a few pieces of paper and some scissors, and one requires you to make a hot drink.
Oh, nice.
But other than that, you basically stand up and you'd be LARPing. It's very rules light and materials light. Yeah.
Do you need tokens or anything like that? I know most other belonging games you use tokens of some sort.
Oh, yes. You do need a couple of small objects that you can use as tokens. If you can make them kind of Christmas themed, if you have any tiny snowflakes or ornaments or things, that's an added bonus. But I've personally used these little flat bottomed rocks that I got at a pet store. They're supposed to go into aquariums, and they're just little shiny rocks that you can use as tokens and game accessories.
Or Christmas themed Hershey Kisses.
I was gonna say that would be great. Some red and green Hershey Kisses.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my token. Nom nom nom.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that you're going to rapidly run out if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got to get the big bag.
I swear I had 3 and now I only have 2 and I don't understand what happened.
I didn't make the move. I just, I don't know what happened.
Weird. You talked a little bit about it, but I want to expand more, especially for people who haven't spent a lot of time watching, Lifetime original movies. What kinds of stories and themes is this game meant to explore?
Yeah. So this game is for small stories about romance and drama and, around kind of a holiday theme. There's a lot of there's a lot of topics of like finding your place in the world, or like generosity, or, becoming a better or more confident person. Christmas movies tend to... So even though they're Christmas movies, it's more about the cultural experience of Christmas rather than the religious holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are specific Christmas movies that are religiously themed, but a lot of it is just about the kind of like the atmosphere of like families coming together and, like finding loved ones and
like going back home after a long time. Or
Yeah, they're fluffy, character-focused stories.
Yeah, and a lot of times with a weird twist as well, which is interesting. Like, oh, my boyfriend is not really my boyfriend. He's this convict that happens to be by my side for whatever reason.
Yeah,
but his great uncle is actually Santa Claus.
Yeah, there's a lot of like fake dating and like weird coincidences.
Oh, fake dating is like one of my favorite tropes. I love it so much. I love it so much. And like, we don't really like each other, but like your mom's going to be mad if you're single and my mom's going to be like, let's just go together. And then actually they fall in love.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
I just recently, like in watching movies for research, found a rare like New Year's Eve movie where it involves like these two radio hosts who like fake date each other for the show, and then they find out they're really in love with each other, and like
who could have seen that coming?
There's like this, like it's just set in that like that week period after Christmas, so it's not even a Christmas movie, but like it's the time of year where you can still reasonably keep your Christmas tree up. So
if there's a Christmas tree, it's probably a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
There you go. That's the litmus test.
I don't know if I buy that, but that's all right. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's the official stance of character creation cast now, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you get into calling like Die Hard a Christmas movie type.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
technically, it's not like the period before.
Technically, the definition I heard is if you can take Christmas out of the movie and the movie still makes sense and the events of the movie still would have happened, then it's not a Christmas movie. But if you have to have Christmas in the Christmas movie or in the movie and to make the plot make sense, then it is a Christmas movie.
See, but then there's like the argument of like, what if it was a different holiday?
That's a little,
like,
that feels a little
what
too
if it was
restrictive.
Thanksgiving?
Well,
like
would
Home Alone makes sense if they were still like traveling for Thanksgiving.
It should. But
right, so that it's not a Christmas movie.
Oh, them's fighting words.
Well, but this is the formula that you just presented to me.
I don't know. I'm just telling what I heard.
I, as a member of Character Creation Cast, am not prepared to make a stance on this issue right now.
I can't make a stance either.
I think more research is required.
This is outside of our paycheck, and
no, I don't want to bring that kind of hate on the network.
This is the kind of controversial take that's gonna cost you.
Right. I'm not prepared to lose listeners over this.
No.
Like, I mean, it might be spineless, but I'm not prepared.
No,
for
it's
that.
fine. It's fine.
I will take a stance on other issues, but not on Christmas movies.
No. If you think it's a Christmas movie, it's fine.
That's right. I mean, I also said that Thanksgiving is this week, so I watched Muppet Christmas Carol last night. No regrets. One of my favorite Christmas movies.
Well, there you go. So, what do characters do then in this game?
So to an extent, you're doing just everyday normal things. Like, this is a game that is, it's set in a small town on Earth. Most of the playbooks are regular human beings, but there is kind of like Christmas movies tend to be like parodies of real situations. Like, human beings get boiled down to a few basic personality traits or motivations. Like, Christmas is the most important thing in the world for the town that you're in. So you're in a sense, it's kind of slice of life, but you're taking a lot of shortcuts on what life is. Like,
right.
like if there's two people who have known each other forever, they're going to fall in love over the course of a week. Or, you know, if there's a big baking competition coming up, that's going to be the most important thing for you to succeed in order to find your happiness. It's like speed running life and emotional growth.
Oh, I like that.
That's such a good description of it. That really is. Like, yeah. Well, like things that are like very important during that 1 week are like all there is. Like it's like nothing exists outside of that week before Christmas. Like, and it's like, and your small town is it. Like that is the whole world. Like there's nothing else happening in the universe. Like other than that baking competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's like the vague idea of somewhere else, and it's a big city. They have different values there. But
there's here and not here. Those are the two places that exist.
Mm-hmm.
What is unique about A Chrismas Belonging compared to other Belonging Outside Belonging games, or even if you can think of any other Christmas games? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are some.
There might be others. I haven't checked just to avoid taking influence from them. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I kind of made that is unique about this system is that I kind of actively discourage you from being like too deep a character or like having those long drawn out moments. Like Christmas movies are very fast paced and they're simplistic. So I tell players like do the obvious, lean into the tropes, be transparent about what your motivations are. Like there's always that kind of moment where, the problems could just be resolved if you just talk to each other.
Yes.
Like go for that moment. Like just get people screaming about the table about how frustrating and weird things are. And then just like put the gas pedal on it. Like use your strong move to resolve your storyline. And then you have your happy ending.
Nice.
Yeah. Christmas movies really don't have subtext. They don't have twists. They don't have, it's like you sit down to watch it and you're like, I bet this, and this are going to happen. It's probably a safe bet. Those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And like, even if a character is saying one thing, like you can easily read the emotion on their face that like, from the audience that they don't really mean what they're saying. They're not really okay with their crush talking to that other person.
Right.
Like,
and there's something really satisfying about that, about being like, I am going to sit down. I know exactly what's going to happen in this movie, like exactly what people are going to say, who's going to fall in love with whom. And I'm right.
like we're grown-ups. Like the real world is complicated and stressful. Like let's just know what's going to happen going into it and just have a good time.
I love the like sort of transparent, just like, yep, this is what's gonna happen. Like that guy's gonna fall for that girl and she's gonna be like, aren't you good for him because she's from the city? And so good.
Yeah, not everything has to like challenge you or make you think. Like sometimes it's okay to just like have fun and tell a simple real world story.
Yeah. And I really liked the choice of using the Belonging Outside of Belonging system for this, because in almost every single Christmas movie, it's always like stuff doesn't go perfectly at first. And then it like works its way towards that perfect ending, right? Which Belonging Outside Belonging, for those not familiar with the system, and I'm vaguely familiar with the mechanics, you can't do those strong moves until you've forced weak moves on your characters.
Yeah, that is another thing that I don't necessarily know is unique about my game, but something that I built into the design is that each playbook has that built-in story arc to it. Like you've got your weak move is going to be the low point in your story, where you show off like the worst aspects of your personality. You get a token for doing that. And then, when once more plot happens, you have that token, you can do your strong move, and that kind of helps you like resolve that plot point or help somebody else resolve theirs, and kind of like become the person that the the movie tells you is that this person is going to be in about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
So that's actually a question too that I want to ask real quick. Is these are like 90-minute made for TV movies? You know, like they're quick. Sure, this is not like a 3-hour 3-part Lord of the Rings epic.
No.
How long do the game sessions last? Usually, are they still kind of in that like quick sort of 2-hour range, or are they more like a 4-hour kind of? Because obviously we're people and we explain things, and we, you know.
Yeah, I'd say about 4 hours. Like this isn't a game that's built for long-term play. Yeah. Like if it takes you more than 2 sessions to tell your story, I mean, good for you. You're having a good time, but like the intention is to like for it to be a one shot where, you know, you might spend a little time making the town or building up your characters a little more. But I've tried to like give players shortcuts to the drama and like getting to the point of the story, like get in, have a good time, get out. Yeah.
Very nice. So at this point, we usually talk about the system, the history of the system. And I know like the Belonging Outside Belonging system we already mentioned came out in 2018 from Avery Adler. And when did A Chrismas Belonging, when did this idea come to fruition?
So this was kind of my pandemic project in a way that, you know, some people learned to bake or learned woodworking. Yeah. I decided to like buckle down and make a long game. Like most of the games I've done on itch are like, you know, a few pages, you know, something very rules light. But I kind of hit upon the idea of like, what if a Christmas movie RPG? And you know, like I mentioned, there's maybe a 2-month window out of the year where you could reasonably play a Christmas movie game. So I got this one out towards the end of 2020. And, you know, around September or October, like I took another look at it and was like, there's a lot more that I could do with this, just like to fine tune it and, you know, make the points I was going for a bit clearer, like make the built-in character arcs a bit more like in service of what they're going for. So in, you know, a couple weeks ago in like late October, I put up a new version that is, you know, I added a few new playbooks. I, you know, refined pretty much every page and even included a stronger condemnation of Christmas movies, as weird as that sounds. Like, I admit that they are like not a perfect art form, but there are criticisms of Christmas movies that go beyond them just being like light and predictable. Like they're very white, they're very heteronormative. They present like a few things as like normal and desirable. And like, I felt I had to include a section that pushes back against some of that, because I'm white, but I'm not straight. Basically, none of my friends are straight. And I wanted to say like, hey, tell your story, like make any changes to this game that you need to kind of like push back against this, like this hegemonic, very predictable type of art form.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need more queer Christmas movies.
Absolutely. I think I've seen like maybe 2.
Yeah.
And those were like
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, those were like big deals when they were released, because like they were like the only ones. And I don't think it's going to be, you know, not a big deal until it becomes normal. And I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, but
no, because then there are going to be all of the like keep Christ in Christmas people, because you know, it's okay. Yeah, it's we don't have time for that.
I mean,
but yeah, no, I appreciate that note in there. Like, you know, hey, it doesn't have to be, you know, like straight white people. It's okay. No. Like, other people celebrate Christmas too.
I had another point, but it was just another tangent about.
Feel free. Like,
okay.
Feel free. Like, we love a good tangent on this show.
Cool. So, I mean, a lot of like certainly in the early days that we're in of queer Christmas movies, it does to an extent feel like Pride and how like banks and big corporations will like, throw on the rainbow coat for a month and be like, hey, we want gay people's money too.
Right.
And, like you said, until it becomes a normal thing, that it's probably going to be like that for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, hey, queers, here's your queer Christmas movie that you wanted.
Right. And it's weird because it's like now that a couple of them are coming out, it's more of a like, let's pick apart this movie more than any other movie because it's the quote unquote queer movie, a queer Christmas movie of the season.
Yeah.
It has to get to that level. I don't mind if the movies are bad because a lot of Christmas movies are bad.
Yeah.
Right. But I want it to be normal.
Yeah.
Right. But there's also like do I have to support it because it's queer? And if I don't support it, they'll stop making it. But what if I don't even like it? But like, I don't like it just because it's queer. It's also a bad movie. Like,
well, right. But a lot of Christmas movies are
like an emotional roller coaster of like, do I have to?
It is weird.
This is the one.
Yeah. But being able to tell your own queer Christmas stories through a game like this is fantastic because you don't have to wait for corporate America to catch up.
No. Like, anything that you make with this game is not going to be any worse than what actually gets made. Like,
that's just
go into
like
it.
Freeing, honestly. Like, wow, you can't make it any worse than it already is, friend. Off you go. That's like really low stakes, and I like it. I feel like that's nice. What I need right now.
Yep.
Like just be free. Have at it.
Yeah.
Going into this, before we start making our characters, are there some terms and concepts that you think people should be aware of so that they know what we're talking about as they listen along?
Sure. So the first concept is roles. Basically, these are playbooks by a more movie-sounding name. So when you hear us say role, just translate that to playbook. Or I guess if you haven't played PBTA games, just call it a class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see, we've gone over moves a little bit, but each playbook kind of has their own list of moves that are ways they interact with the world. Belonging Outside Belonging calls them normal, weak, and strong moves. I call them things you can always do, things that get you a token, and things that you give a token in order to do, just to kind of remove that sort of power dynamic from it.
That makes sense.
I'm sorry. I call them things you can always do, get a token when you do, and spend a token in order to do.
Okay. That makes sense.
Another idea is your props. This is an idea I took from Pasión de las Pasiones by Brandon Leon Gambetta. Props are basically items or things or people that you create as a part of your character in order to help define them in some way. Like, for example, the small town hottie has a prop, an old but reliable truck. And, from the fact that they have an old truck, like, what does that tell you about them? Maybe that they're not rich, that they probably fix it themselves. Maybe there's some sentimental attachment to it. But they're just kind of like open-ended things to help your character be a bit more of a person.
Okay.
And yeah, I could also go into setting elements. Those aren't a part of character creation necessarily, but they are like part of the Belonging Outside Belonging system.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Lastly, there are setting elements. Since there isn't a GM, players have a lot of freedom to decide what happens in their story. And setting elements are ways for other players to communicate their say or to kind of throw a wrench into the works. There are 5 setting elements to this game that are sort of like Christmas movie mainstays. There are family and friends, the small town, the big city, happenstance, and Christmas magic. And basically, when you're playing, these are accessible to all the players. They come with their own moves and own sort of thematic elements to them. And, you know, in a scene that you're not in, you can just pick one up, make one of the moves, say what happens, and then the other player kind of has to react to that as if a GM had told them what happens. Except it's not a GM, it's your fellow player and your friend.
Very nice. Well, is there anything else we need to know before we get into character creation then?
So one last thing is that each of these playbooks is kind of centered around a Christmas movie trope. Mm-hmm. And some of those tropes aren't always like main character types. You know, there's like a journalist and event planners. And, you know, in some ways, each of them kind of can serve as a main character if, you know, the moves are written sort of vaguely enough that they could apply to you as well as to someone else. But in a way, like, if you're the kind of player who maybe doesn't feel as comfortable like talking a lot during the game, you could pick up one of these more supporting character type roles and, you know, along with the setting elements, help tell a story for the other players. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, if you really are drawn to one of the playbooks, but it doesn't feel like a main character type, that's something you should kind of communicate to the other players to say, like, hey, I know, you know, journalists aren't always like a big part of a story, but I'd like to take a more active role if I can.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really excited to see what we do here.
This is going to be so much fun.
It's going to be great. Yeah, yeah. I'm so excited.
Well, shall we make some people?
Let's make some people.
Let's make some people.
Let's make some people.
Oh,
Let's make some people.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. I really meant to, like, leading up to this recording to, like, watch a bunch of Christmas movies and stuff. And unfortunately, this week did not go that way. So
yeah, thankfully, my wife has had them on in the living room like a lot. So I've been catching like a few minutes here and there, you know, as I'm walking through the living rooms. And goodness gracious, there's a lot of them out there.
There are. Yeah, and I haven't watched any like new ones really in a long time. So I'm probably way behind on, you know, what the kids are into as far as Christmas movies these days.
Thankfully, I think we can take all of our previous Christmas movie knowledge and utilize that easily enough.
Or carries forward.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, it looks like
it's really timeless, honestly.
There's a lot of good roles in this game, and I'm really excited. Yeah. I'm assuming role selection is first. What do we do?
So in the game itself, the first thing that I have players do is create the town that you're going to be setting your story in.
We should do it. We should do it.
We don't like creating worlds or anything though. No, so maybe we can skip that part this time.
No.
Let's bring someone from a world building podcast on our show and tell them how we don't like building worlds.
Let's make a place.
Totally gonna buy it.
All right, we're gonna make a place.
Okay.
Let's make a place. Yeah, okay, cool.
Let's make a place.
Gosh. I'm so excited. I'm so like stupidly excited, but maybe because I've had like too much coffee this morning. I'm like,
it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm so here for this.
Okay, so our setting. So what do we need to do to create this setting?
Okay, so each game of A Chrismas Belonging takes place in a small town that is a few hours drive away from the big city. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously we're a podcast. There's a strong visual element to map making that we don't necessarily need to do. Mm-hmm. But there is I was going to do
anyway. I have my iPad pulled up in front of me. I'm going to be doing that anyway.
Yeah. But there is a list of things that you're going to be creating as part of this small town.
Okay.
If you don't want to set your story in a small town, I do include options for that. There's, you know, a few minor tweaks of things.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're going for the classic Christmas movie feel.
Mm-hmm. I want this to be like the tropiest trope. I don't know. I guess everybody else can feel free to like X that, but I feel like I want
No.
this to be like the tropiest.
Yes. I'm here for the
trope
trope.
salad.
Super trope salad with a little weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little weird. All right.
Just a little weird.
Okay.
Because I've got my eye in a couple different roles, and
Okay.
that's going to make things a little weird anyway. So
Okay. I'm excited. All right. So small town.
yeah.
So, and you can come up with these in any order because the first one is the name of the town, and names are hard. Like we can do the name last, like after we come up with some defining features about it.
All right. That sounds great.
But first up is the town name, if we're prepared for that.
I'm not prepared.
Okay.
And now I feel like I need to know about it to like
Okay.
name it.
Let's hold off on the name then. Next is a natural landmark. Could be like a river, a mountain, a lake,
Ooh.
something that was there before the town.
I want to say like I want to say like a pond or something like that.
Pond. Interesting.
Like a nice big pond.
I feel like we call it the lake,
Yeah, I think the
Like,
lake.
we're like-
but
but it's not. It's really just a pond.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's probably some sort of like scientific or like geographical distinction between ponds and lakes that this is technically a pond, but
Yeah.
everybody calls it the lake.
Our
Yeah.
town insists that it's like the pride of the town.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
mean,
lake.
it's something you can skate across very easily in winter.
Oh, for the all
Yes.
important ice skating scene, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. The pond. Okay. The lake.
Okay, love it.
What is our lake called, Brian?
Oh goodness.
Can't have a lake and not have a name for it.
Yeah, because you don't name ponds, you name lakes.
Oh, interesting. That's true. So this is gosh, it's just gotta be like the lake and then the town name. Right?
Wait,
So,
squeeze a lot of
yeah.
that one.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm gonna write lake. I'm gonna put it in quotes here.
Well, you wanted like super tropey, right?
I did. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm thinking we need to work the word pond into the town name now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like Lake Pond, like Lake Gold Pond or something.
I like that.
Like Gold Pond. So the town is called Gold Pond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go with it.
All one word.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it's close to Gold Bond, but I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Just for the product placement, obviously.
Yeah. They were trying to get the factory to move there. It didn't quite work out.
Mhm.
It was just a typo in the paperwork and it wasn't meant to be.
That's unfortunate.
Do people insist that it's pronounced differently? Like it's clearly Gold Pond, but people say, like if you're from there, you call it something different. Like people are there's a town called, everybody here calls it New Berlin, but it's clearly New Berlin. But if you're from around here, it's Berlin.
Yeah.
Like
Like Athens, Georgia, and
yeah,
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So it's
Like,
like,
there's
gold.
It's like-
an
it's
obvious
actually Gold
yeah,
Pond.
there's a
Yeah, gold pond. Gold pond.
Gold
there's
Pond.
yeah, the obvious pronunciation and then what everybody
what
local
everybody actually
says.
says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Gold Pond.
Gold Pond.
Gulpin.
Yeah.
Gulpin.
I hate it so
Yeah.
much.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
okay.
so good.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when the ice on the lake breaks. You're gulping.
Gold Pond. And that's a joke that every dad in the town makes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is our one natural feature is Lake Gold Pond that is actually a pond.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Town-
convoluted already, and
I
we've
love
only
it.
done one thing.
Yeah. No, we got the town name in there. We're on
All right.
two.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. Next is a town mascot.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, this was kind of my love letter to like Japanese towns who like always have these weird mascots. Like it's a bowl of noodles with a spider coming out of it or something.
I
Yes.
For some reason, I'm thinking of a honey bear, like a bear that loves honey.
Oh, what about a bear in a bee costume?
So much, and
That's-
then that
that's
works kind of like the
incredibly cute.
gold in there too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
because honey
yes.
is like gold.
I love
A bear in a bee costume.
that. It's amazing.
Does he have a name? I gotta stop asking everybody else to name things, but I think like he does.
Names are hard.
He does need a name.
He's got to have a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like a bear pun or a bee pun as a name,
Or honey pun.
honey pun.
Honey pun. My first instinct is sticky, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
No.
No, we can do a lot.
It's got to be cute and
Stripes.
I kind of like
the bear.
Stripes the bear. Maybe
We'll think about it.
All right.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna noodle on that because I feel like there's
Yeah,
got to be
yeah.
a good bear pun in there somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. Next is a struggling industry or threatened asset.
Mm.
And, threatened asset can be like defined as like a forest nearby that's slated for logging, or, the rec center that might be torn down for a parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, what about the stream that feeds the pond is being threatened to be diverted?
Oh yeah, they're gonna build a new I don't know, subdivision? No. What's something that small towns hate?
Wind farms.
Oh, wind farm. You're gonna build a wind farm. Oh no, and
no.
that's gonna threaten the bees too. Bees don't like wind farms.
Oh no.
Mm. Yep. That's it. A new wind farm.
Really excited to see this map now.
I know.
Yeah,
Pressure's on.
I haven't drawn it out yet. Right now, I'm just making my notes, but
Okay.
I gotta
That's
see.
amazing.
Yeah. So next are 3 businesses on Main Street.
Okay, one of them is a coffee shop. There has to be a coffee shop.
Yes.
And it is the best place to get internet because most of the town still has dial-up.
Oh no.
Mhm.
It's like a little internet cafe.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it maybe like even an old cyber cafe where
Yeah.
it's just like rows of computers?
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and they
been-
still
it's
have
been
like a
there
working fax
yeah.
machine too.
Yeah, it's been there like since the 90s. Like they've kind of kept up with technology to an extent, but just the look of the place is very like that kind of like plastic neon of the old IMAX.
Okay. So we've got an internet cafe.
So what's the name of it?
No, I was just trying to think of that.
The names.
I know.
Okay, you wanted us to make a town and businesses and not name them.
It's fine. This adds to the immersion.
Yeah.
So it's got to be let's see, like maybe like the Busy Bee or something like that, or a buzz, some sort of buzz.
Yeah, like caffeine buzz.
The cyber buzz or
Cyber, tie it in with the mascot.
Yeah.
Cyberspace.
It could just be cyberspace.
Yeah.
I like that. Cyberspace.
Yeah. It's a
All right.
public domain mascot. Any business in the town can use it.
There's an antique shop.
Oh,
Yes.
There has to be an antique shop. It's just let's see. We'll just say it's like Jill's Antique Shop.
I think
Yeah.
Muriel is a better name for an antique shop than that.
Yeah. It's named after the owner.
Yeah. So what was the name?
Muriel.
Muriel.
Mm-hmm.
I like that name. That's a good. Antique shop name.
Muriel's Antiques.
Yep.
Okay.
What else? What else we got? We got one more.
All right, Danny, do you want to come up with one? So I've got an internet cafe and Ryan has an antique shop. I think you need to come up with one now.
Okay.
Your turn.
So I think there's probably like the one restaurant in town. Like it's very, I'm going to say like 50s diner style.
Okay.
Maybe, do we want to put the waitresses on roller skates? Is it that sort of?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Go for the tropes. Waitresses on roller skates. A lot of like red and white checked gingham table mats. You can still get like a burger and fries for $5.
Yeah, they've
Like-
got shakes and a jukebox and
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Love it.
I want some see if I can look up some like 50s slang to name this place. Let's go with Bingos.
Love it.
I like that.
Bingo's Diner?
Hold on.
Or just Bingo's?
Bingo's Fat City.
Oh my gosh.
But people just call it Bingos because they're watching their weight these days.
Oh, right.
Wow. I love this small town already.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It like we've clearly like put it right in the past, like it like 90s with the cyber cafe or like 50s with the diner. This is not a modern place by any means.
And then you've got the antique shop, which has all of the antiques over the ages.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next?
Yeah. Next up, we have an upcoming event.
Ooh.
And this could be like a pageant or a competition or like a big celebration.
See, it's the honey bake-off.
The honey bake-off.
You got to make a baked dish with honey as the main ingredient.
I like that. Or maybe like make it a bit bigger, be like a honey festival.
Oh yeah.
There's probably like some guy who's brewing his own mead. There's like different honeys made from like orange blossoms or like clover or like cinnamon honeys.
Yes, because local honeys are like those are a big deal.
Yeah. I actually used to live across the street from like a local honey maker. Like they had like the racks of bees in their little containers. Never got a chance to try the honey though, but I was always, when I'd see it in the store, I'd be like, those are my neighbors. So next up is the most important thing that has happened here.
Oh.
I think that the president one time in the 80s came to this town to sign some kind of legislation related to bees or honey or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was for like one day.
Okay.
But everybody's still telling stories about the time that Jimmy Carter in his second term, obviously, term Jimmy Carter, came here. We're living in Carter's America.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the one-shot game that had that as the plot point.
I think it was their Kids on Bikes episode.
Yes.
But I also have a friend, I'm a political science major, and I have a friend who like wrote one of her like thesis papers on like how Jimmy Carter was like this sort of like unrecognized genius. And like the things that could have happened if Carter was president. And so I always remember that. It's like Carter's second term, Carter's America. So yes, I think Jimmy Carter in his second term came to sign some legislation about honey production. And people are still talking about the time Jimmy Carter was here.
Yeah. There's
one
like
day.
There's like a special like honey peanut butter that they make every year as like memorializing like the bees and the peanut farmer president.
Oh, that's so cute! Like honey peanut butter sandwiches and like
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
Okay, I love it. So next we have a thing that the town has in abundance, and this could be something like metaphysical, like Christmas spirit, or like generosity, or it could be there's a lot of trees or bees or bears.
I mean,
all of us.
We're pretty much on this honey train, right? It's
whether
gotta
we
have
love it or not.
It's gotta have just honey in abundance, like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like at the diner, you can get honey with anything. And like everybody's got honey on their shelves, and it's all the local honey. And
yeah, like if there's, basically anywhere in the South, like when you order tea, it's sweet tea. And in this town, it's like you order tea and it's tea sweetened with honey.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that.
And next is a thing the town desperately lacks.
Okay, here's a question. Is Main Street like lead directly to Lake Goldbund? Or is it like kind of off from it a little bit? Because I dropped my map.
I like it leading straight to the pond lake.
Okay.
Just kind of imagining how a town gets built up. It's usually like around a natural landmark.
Yeah.
So like maybe at one point they were like fishing from this pond, or like it was important to them in some way. And then just that, like their road to the pond became a main street.
Got it. Okay, sorry, what was your question?
Oh, a thing the town desperately lacks. And I'm trying to maybe tie it into the wind farm thing. Like maybe in a way that like it wouldn't be completely a terrible thing if like they had more wind power for some reason. But
yeah, well, maybe
I think it sounds just like if we've got like an internet cafe and stuff, like there's some infrastructure needs here.
That's
we're
what I
kind
was
of out
thinking,
of the
right?
way from like a big city stuff,
bringing the wind
power
farms is going to bring the power. It's going to bring internet, high-speed internet, because they need to monitor all those wind farms, and that'll be readily available to all the people of the city or the town.
Some jobs, man.
Yeah,
some
jobs too. Yeah. So infrastructure.
Yeah, or like even just the idea of like newness and the modern world.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole lot going on out there, and like you can't
there's more than just honey, and you can't keep telling people that one story about Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
something new needs to happen here.
That's true.
That was 40 years ago.
Oh no, it was.
Oh,
are you okay, Ryan?
No.
Yeah, you were there for Carter's second term.
I was 1980.
You can tell us how it went.
I was a baby. Oh, 40 years. Okay. Yes, the 80s, the early 80s were 40 years ago. Welcome to the future, everybody. Oh, goodness.
I hate the future.
Right. Now that I've had an existential crisis.
That's all that we need for the town. If you'd like to break down for a little bit.
Yeah, if you need a minute.
So, okay, no, that's fine. But I wanted to finalize the name of the bear, right?
Oh yes,
finalize the name of the bear, and for some reason, Honey the Bear popped into my brain, but we don't have to go with that. It's very on the nose, right?
I feel like there's got to be like a good, I don't know. I don't have anything better though. So I don't think that we can like hold up the process.
So apologies if this creates a weird association in your mind, but I was thinking of like hibernate.
I was kind of too, because I was like...
Hibernate.
Hibernate, yeah. No, I was thinking that too, because I was like, Nate's a name, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I gave it to my child, so I'm pretty sure it's a name. And then Hibernate. I like that one. We could just call him Nate for short, but like his full name, everybody knows his full name is Hibernate, but everybody calls him Nate.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, would that make the cyber cafe's name then like hyperspace? That's nothing.
It's almost hyperspace.
Cybernates.
Cybernate.
Because they do use the bear mascot.
Yeah, hibernate.
Yeah, I think that would. Oh, I like that.
I kind of like that. I'm going to change it.
Cybernate.
Cyber.
And we're selling. It's cyber, right? It's high bear as well.
Cybernate.
High bear. Yeah.
High bear with a Y, right?
CY.
CYBEAR.
So is it cybernate? Like it's just like so much pun happening at once.
There's a lot of layers to the name. That,
I like it.
If you're not from the town, it's going to take you 5 minutes to explain the name.
But
and
it's
you're like, somebody should have done some editing here. Like they should have had focus group this a little bit, but they didn't.
There's like this whole folktale around the name itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
So 40 years ago, Jimmy Carter came and
he came and there was no internet yet, but now we have an internet cafe.
We got an internet cafe. It's fine. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You get the high speed of 44 kilobits per second.
Yeah. Wireless. We've got wireless.
We got wireless. Wow. That just came 2 years
ago. There's no
ago.
wires anymore.
No wires.
It just goes through the air.
It just goes through the air.
I can't believe it. It's
connect your phone to anything.
This is the future.
So we have created Goldfin. And I love this honey themed bear centric pond town.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Call to action.
Yeah, like that.
This game really has me hyped up for the holiday season. I really enjoyed this one. I'm glad that we ended up covering it. the world building in this episode specifically was it created like such a rich backdrop for our characters that we're actually going to be meeting in the next episode.
Yeah.
And I understand that you actually did a session of this game with your group recently, right?
Yeah, so the other night we just did the character creation and the town creation. So just the things that you're going to hear in this episode. We haven't gotten to actually like play the game yet. I'm hoping next week, or I don't know, maybe in the coming weeks. We're kind of doing it like when we don't have our full group there. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that one too. And it turned out very differently than ours did. It's a very different group of people.
From the little I've heard of it, but it sounds very on brand, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, so far there's no necromancy or blood magic or anything. But, you know, I think there's still time. Well, so there's still time. You know, the magic of Christmas could also be blood magic. Unclear.
That's true. The blood magic of a Christmas. That sounds like a great. That sounds like a great title for a Hallmark movie. Yeah. I would
watch that movie. Yeah, I was actually at the Hallmark store over the weekend, and I did tweet at Danny. I was like, look at all this swag for your game, because they have a whole table full of like Hallmark movie merch that's like, this is my Hallmark movie watching blanket. And so I was like, look at all this stuff for your game.
I know. Props galore.
Right?
Well, before we let you all go for the week, we do have some calls to action and a review to read.
Ooh, I love reviews. But first, if you like what we're doing here, you can check out the One Shot Network Patreon Secret Archive. We have a couple episodes in there now, and we're hoping to get at least one bonus episode out every month to generally cover smaller games. Sometimes actually play the game, maybe, even though that's not what we do. But, you know, it's what we do if you pay us to do it, I guess. So we'll have more of that content in there pretty soon, as soon as Ryan's feeling better and we can kind of schedule around the holidays and stuff. But we've been having a lot of fun with those smaller games. So if you are able to back the Patreon, you can hear some of that and hear some of the fun we're having.
Yeah, there might even be some guests aside from us two that meander in from time to time. Tracy Burnett had been on for a couple, and
right now you can hear Peggy in the background. Peggy really wants to be on an episode at some point.
I know.
That'd be really exciting.
Exactly.
Hey, we played Hero Dog Saves Town with my actual dog. So we pitched the ideas at her and let her pick. So you can play some of these games with a dog.
It's very true. Also, we are currently in the beginning stages of planning a live streamed panel where we'll be creating random characters with the audience, kind of like we did for the Catacon 2019 panel. And we'll see how that goes. We're very early on in the stages of it, but you know, we'll keep you posted on where that winds up, and we think it'll be a really good time when we actually get it going. We'll announce it more when we get closer.
Yeah, I think we were both really sad that we didn't get to do it at a Catacon. We had so much fun doing it the first time, and so we've been kind of brainstorming and noodling with how we can make that work online. Hopefully maybe some like involvement from the chat as we kind of roll up stuff on random tables. So I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm really hoping we can find a way to make it work. I'd love to like make it work for charity somehow. But yeah, I think we're working it. We're noodling, I would say.
A lot of good ideas.
The noodling phase.
That's very true.
Finally, it is review time. If you want to help us out a ton and, you know, make our hearts warm, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, other places, a Post-it note. We will read them here. Like this one from Armin on Podcast Addict. It's a really nice podcast. Lovely hosts, interesting guests, and fun systems. Love it.
Well, thank you, Armin.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for leaving a review there. We've got a couple rubeviews, 3 of them actually on Podcast Addict right now.
Nice.
So I always go there about once a month or so to check them out. But you know, with everything, it's been a while. I know this one came back in August or so. So we do check them. We do get to them.
I did ask on my birthday as a birthday gift if everybody could, leave a review. So, hey, everyone who hasn't left a review, it was my birthday last week, and did you get me something? If not, please leave us a review. It would be a lovely really nice late birthday present.
Yeah, seriously, they help us out a ton, and it's really, really great, especially, when things are stressful in life, which they tend to be a lot for both of us. Me with my move and being sick, and Amelia with everything that's going on there.
Yeah, with just life. Like Ryan has his specific list of things. Amelia's just generically stressed, just stuff.
Yeah.
No, life is a lot right now, and it feels good to know that this thing that we put out into the world matters to people. Yep. And I think we say it every time we read a review that we do really value it, but we really do. They warm our hearts, and sometimes they make me cry a little bit.
And maybe they will make me healthy. So leave 5 reviews.
The healing power of podcast
The healing
reviews.
power of podcasting. Exactly.
Yes, everyone, please help heal Ryan.
Yeah, so,
your
it's worth a shot.
Your podcast review can save one Ryan.
I don't know if it'll work or not, but, we can try, right?
Well,
leave a review.
A lot of science is trial and error.
That's true. And who doesn't like science?
I love science.
Well, that's all we have for today's episode. Join us next time as we dive deep into character creation and get some really phenomenal results. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe, drink water, get vaccinated, and keep making those amazing people. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us for part 1 of this character creation series. We'll be back in part 2, picking up right where we left off.
Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can be found in the show notes. If you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we have links to various review platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, in our show notes. Also, check the show notes for links to our other projects. Thanks for joining us, and remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We will see you next time.
Now we gotta read some show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Character Creation Cast is hosted by the One Shot Podcast Network. If you enjoyed our show, visit oneshotpodcast.com, where you will find other great shows like All My Fantasy Children.
Each week, Aaron Catano-Saez and Jeff Stormer take a listener-submitted prompt and, using some of their favorite tabletop RPGs, create an original fantasy character. Along the way, they share laughs, stories, verbal hugs, and populate a shared universe, one story at a time.